what's up you guys, this is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Daily Grind, we're going to be chatting about just that, my daily Cetus grind. Now, I do kind of want to give you guys a little bit of a heads up. No, this is not going to be a fishing guide, and this is not going to be a gem guide. In the future, maybe we'll go ahead and cover that, as y'all know. Because y'all came for me when I was saying, I'm not all about that fishing life. I'm still not about that fishing life, but I am slowly but surely learning so that at least I know what I'm talking about when I talk about fishing. Still not fond of it though. There ain't nothing y'all can do to make me get excited about fishing. I am sorry. Regardless, today we are going to be chatting about how I farm my Cetus standing. I do it pretty chill. But I do it in a way that I feel is fairly, how do you say this, fairly effective. And then on top of that, we'll also talk about Breath of the Eidolon real fast, and I will show you my Cetus Wisp farming route. So hopefully you guys will go ahead and stick around, and we'll go ahead and jump into that now. Alright, so before we get started, I did want to impress upon you guys exactly how important Mastery Rank is. Now, in most places, Mastery Rank doesn't really mean too much in the social context. However, when it comes to kind of like grinding out standing and whatnot, it will actually give you more towards your cap per day. So, every level of Mastery Rank you get, you'll actually get an additional 1,000 standing that you can gain. So for me, at Mastery Rank 24, I'm currently capped out at 25,000. So I can get a max of 25,000 per day, which definitely helps when you're trying to kind of like go through all of the different benchmarks as you're going up kind of like the Cetus faction board. You know what I'm talking about, that little thing that says that you're Sutra or Kin. Listen, I don't know the names of any of those things, but I know that the larger your Mastery Rank is, the more that you can earn per day, which will help you get towards the max rank a lot faster. So definitely keep that in mind if you're on console or if you're starting new on PC. It's definitely something that you should focus on. I know there's a lot of social context behind it and a lot of people say, oh, you know, judging other people based on their Mastery Rank. We're not talking about that here. The only thing that we are chatting about is how it can get you a little bit further when it comes to all of the Syndicate factions. So with that aside, let's go ahead and talk about how I actually earned that standing. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, it does feel a little bit wackadoo, kind of like I'm eating the pizza crust end first. But it works for me, and to be completely honest with you, I am able to earn pretty much all of my standing in like one day cycle. So the way that I actually do it is I start from the mid-tier bounty, and then I work my way up towards the highest bounty. So I do the mid-tier first, I do the second one after that, and then I go ahead and I save the last one as kind of like my last bounty of the day. And what I basically do is in that last bounty, I'll go ahead and do the bounty, complete the bounty, and then I'll actually just hang out in that bounty because all of the incursions that kind of follow that bounty will actually be worth 800 standing. So I'm like, alright, well this is like 800 standing and I could go do some fishing, you know, I could kind of get my fish learn on, and then I could go ahead and grab some gems. So basically all I do during that time period is I will either go around, I'll go check for wisps, see if I can grab a couple wisps. During that run, I'll go ahead and whip out the gem zone cutter, or I'll go ahead and practice some fishing because y'all know I need a whole lot of practice. And by the time that either night falls or I just get tired, to be completely honest with you, because to be the realistic part of this is just like I just want to go into the plains, relax, do some shit for a while, and walk out with all of my standing. And to be completely honest with you, if you take all of the fish that I catch and you take all the gems that I grab, in addition to the bounty and the incursions that I'm doing at the same time, I pretty much max out my standing in one single day cycle. So if you start it from, you know, the very beginning to the very end, you can knock it out all in like 1-2 hour period, and then boom, you can go ahead and move on with the day. Then you can do all of the other focus farming that you need to do. So whether it's focus farming, anything else with any other syndicates, leveling up whatever weapons you gotta do, or like crafting some other crap, like you can get it all done and knock it out in one day cycle and just be done with your day. Continuing the bounty conversation, specifically in regards to Breath of the Eidolon, I wanted to go ahead and point out something that's been asked of me several times on stream and also occasionally during the comments in the comment section, and I just wanted to clarify this for you guys. You can actually redo bounties over and over and over again. You will not get the Ostron standing for it, but you will get another roll at the loot rewards on that table. So just because you've done a bounty once, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't do it again. You just won't get the Ostron standing. standing for it. So you can do that for anything. So if you're trying to get your hands on some of the new set mods, or you really want your hands on some more Breath of the Eidolon, which I definitely know that I'm grinding away at, you can still go ahead and re-roll those bounties in order to grab more of the things on that reward table. You just will not get any Ostron standing for it. So keep that in mind when you need to farm Breath of the Eidolon, because definitely that's something that I've been working on a lot lately. Alright, so while we're here, I figured I would go ahead and show you some of the loadouts that I'm currently using for my bounties and also for my Wisp farming, which we'll get into in a second. But before we start, let's go ahead and take a look at my loadout. So I am using Loki, who I'm absolutely loving on the plains. I also like to bring a sniper rifle with me. I'm really a big fan of hit scan weapons out on the plains. I'm kind of shit with tracking projectiles sometimes, so this is kind of like a nice safe bet. Right now, I am currently using the Rubico. I know people are going to give me shit for it because I still love my Vectis Prime, okay? Hashtag Vectis Prime Master Race. Then I actually go ahead and bring as my secondary another hit scan weapon, or just, it doesn't even have to necessarily be a hit scan weapon, but I really like a weapon that can strip armor. Just listen, I'm using Loki. I ain't got no other way to strip armor other than my kitty and my secondary, and I actually like to use my secondary specifically. It's a very specific thing because I have a vendetta against them. Those big fucking ships, the mothership ones that I was telling you about with the fucking Gatling guns and the fucking, they drop enemies down. The enemies don't jump on them. They're the big hunkin' mamas. So I always bring like the Loadout Prime or the Cetus Prime. I bring those to you to kind of shred through the armor, and then I take out whatever's left with my sniper because I hate their guts. I hate their fucking guts. Then of course I have to go ahead and bring just a melee weapon. I'm a big fan of these dagger zaws right now. So let's go ahead and take a look at the build that I have for my Loki. Now this is my bounties build. So this is kind of like a hybrid build of everything I've got going on. I've got duration, I've got range on it, I've got a radiant disarm, and the thing about it is I also keep loot detector around. Now usually that would be like the spot that I keep like energy siphon or something like that, but I find that a lot of the crates and I find that a lot of the enemies are dropping a ton of energy. If you need energy regeneration, don't, you know, hesitate to go ahead and spec into Zeneric. It's a great way to guarantee that for yourself. I personally haven't felt the need out of that, so I'm actually playing with Naramon right now, which I'm a huge fan of, but that's like a whole nother video that we need to talk about. But moving along, this is the build that I'm actually going to be using for Cetus farming. So as you can see, I've got Loot Detector, Thieves Wit, and I've also got Animal Instinct on my kitty, just to like get those ranges real far so that I can see where everything is. And this is basically like an extended duration stealth build. I know that I could probably go ahead and toss on Augur Message instead of Hushed Invisibility if we want even more duration to keep your ass invisible for even longer, and I might actually go ahead and toss that in there. This is a live build going on, but legitimately I just basically do this as my leave me the fuck alone, I just want to like do my own shit build. This is what I like to use when I am Wisp farming and I really can't fucking be bothered. I know a lot of people like to run things like Volt or Ninja to really get around places really fast, but me personally, I feel like if I'm zipping around too fast, sometimes I miss them and then I trigger those Wisps to start flying away. I know people use arc wings and whatnot, but listen, I bumble that shit way too much. So I'm like, listen, we'll just get Loki, we'll just get some invisibility on, we'll add some duration. If you guys want to actually go ahead and take out a survivability mod or something and slot in like a speed mod, go fucking, you know, go crazy. Do whatever you like, but this is specifically what I like using, just to avoid all of the extra shit. So just to stress, this is not a build that I really use for combat. This is what this is the build that I use to survive and to stay invisible and to keep enemies off my fucking back. So that's basically the gist of why this exists. And actually, let me go ahead and point out what I use on my kitty, because a lot of people have been asking about the build that I use on my Smita. So this is kind of what I've got going on. The only thing that I would potentially swap out is Mischief. And that's mainly because they create a decoy of themselves. And you guys know, if I'm Loki, I don't want y'all to attract any goddamn attention to yourself. So if anything, I would probably swap out Mischief with something along the lines of Swipe. I really like Swipe a lot. Because of the fact that you can hit multiple enemies at once. So if this were just the build that I used specifically for Loki, then I would toss in Swipe. However, I do use this build for other things as well, and Mischief is decent for other, you know, Warframe combination. So those are pretty much the builds that I bring into the planes right now. These are my go-tos. Don't get me wrong though, I do play around with a lot of other Warframes in the planes, and maybe we could go ahead and talk about a video on that at a different day about my favorite videos on those. Let me know in the comments below if that's something that you would like to see, but we gotta keep this moving, so let's go. Okay, so from the Cetus entrance, this is basically the way that I go. And legitimately, I kind of keep an eye out. I know that they don't really spawn at some of these spawns too often, but occasionally I get, and this is why I like to use the invisibility build as opposed to something else, because sometimes I wander off and I get distracted. I get distracted by all the shiny pretty things, and sometimes I'll even go ahead and put on my, what is it called? Sometimes I'll even go ahead and put on my ore tracker. Alright, so this is, I'm tempted, but I'm pretty sure that there is, it's either going to be like one of those stupid Maprico trees, or we've got one already. We do have one right here. Awesome. Amazing. Come here. I got worried for a second. And this is why I kind of like to have this specialized build, because legitimately you can kind of spot them across the ways. And as you keep kind of like running these paths over and over again, what you end up finding is, that you'll actually be able to figure out what's what, because there's certain spots that have, ooh, do we have another one? We do, because there's usually nothing on that end. This is one of the parts that the map that I tossed up does not have listed, but I will always go a little bit further out to double check for the Wisp there, because I always feel like there's sometimes just one hiding there. Now, I love the map because it kind of gives you an overview of where you should go, and the reason why I didn't just kind of slap it up here was mainly because of the fact that there are a couple spots that I'm not super, that I'm like, okay, so they're there, but you didn't really list them, and they're really, really easy to get to. And also at the same time, you kind of get to take a look at how things look as you're actually traveling through the map itself. Now, because of the fact that we have bigger ranges on some of our things, you know, we've got the loot detector in there, we've got Thieves' Wit in there, we've got the kitty going at the same time. Because of the fact that all of that is kind of happening, you can actually get a fairly, ooh, that one's a 1. Is it a 1? It is a 1. It is a 1. Because all of this cluster over here is like nothing, but there's usually nothing over here except for a Wisp. Yes, and this is why I actually like farming at night. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I really, really do like using Zeneric for this, so that you can kind of keep your energy, up without really doing anything. But for me, I've been really, really, really loving Naramon lately, and I've been doing a lot of playing with Naramon, and there's some very interesting tips and tricks that go along with Naramon that I think you guys will want to see in a future video, especially because I'm still trying to finish capping out all the things that I want to cap out in order to show you. But I've been a fond of Naramon lately, so for me, it's just like as I'm going through some of these camps, ooh, and not getting stuck on some rocks, as I'm going through some of these camps, I'll actually stop by a nearby camp and just kill like an enemy or two, because they tend to be good about dropping energy orbs. Like I found that if I clear a camp real quick, I'm usually able to, what is this? This is not a thing. Is this the Maprico tree? And don't be fooled by shit like that either. That always makes me crazy. I'm like, it's not quite where it's marked off on the map. Like, I already know, because of the fact that I've been here like a million gajillion bajillion times, that is like going to be like a Maprico tree somewhere here. And you'll get the hang of it. You'll get the hang of it as you, or is it a Wisp? No, it can't be a Wisp. Is it a goddamn Wisp? It is a Wisp! Yes! Yes, it is a Wisp! Usually it's a Maprico tree, but today it was a Wisp, so always double, triple check and make sure. Because sometimes you get led into that. Usually there's something over here too. Usually there's like a little thing that spawns there. Not like a Wisp, but it's usually like a tree or something. So from here, I go on up into this area, and this isn't noted on the maps either, but I really do like coming up to this area right in front of this thing here, because sometimes it does spawn. It doesn't look like we've got anything there now, but I have found that there are some Wisps that spawn in this area. But today we're screwed. Not like in a bad way. I mean, we've gotten a good chunk of Wisps so far already, and it's only been a couple minutes into our little hunt. Now, a lot of people are probably going to make note of the fact that, you know, you can fly on an Arcwing for some of this stuff. Oh my god, where are you? Where are you at, baby? Where are you at? I gotcha. That's right. So a lot of people are going to make note that you can do a lot of the scouting in Arcwing, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be completely and utterly honest with you. I find that a lot of times when you do the scouting from Arcwing, you either don't get the best view of them, or when you try to like land on an area, you'll either throw yourself into the water accidentally. And I'm just speaking from the fact that I'm a klutz. You guys have to understand that I'm a klutz. I am a self-admitted klutz. I get it. I understand. So for me, it's like, you know, just being a normal human being and having like issues like everybody else. Sometimes what ends up happening is I end up like either throwing myself into the water or like, you know, not landing quite right. Or I'll be like, is that a Maprico tree or is that a iridium thing or what is that over there? And I'll go and take a quick look and I usually can't tell, and then by the time that happens, then all of a sudden the Wisp is like, peace the fuck out. And I'm like, no bitch, come back! Come back, bitch, come back! So this part is like the weird part. It's like a little part of nothingness. But you just gotta trust yourself to get over that ridge real quick. And this lake will sometimes spawn them as well. And so, for me, even though, like, Arcwing is faster, and I know that there are a lot of other people that, oh, yeah, you know, I like using Volt, I like using all this. Me, I like Loki because legit, if I am, like, you know, if I'm feeling ADD and I want to go ahead and be like, oh, yeah, I should probably grab a couple rocks and scan a couple, you know, scan a couple areas. This part is the fucked up part. I don't like this. This, like, has got too much shit going on and you can't really tell. But I have a feeling, because I know that that one over there is like not a thing. Okay, this one over here is always alive. There's always two on either side of these that like to make you feel like you've got hope, and this one might be another one, but I think it might actually be a Wisp. No, it's a Maprico tree. Boo, 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 get out. But yeah, so I like a lot of people like using Arcwing or Volt or Ninja, but to be honest with you, when I'm doing these, like, Eidolon hunt run, not Eidolon hunt runs, but these Cetus Wisp runs, I just want to be left the fuck alone. Like, I don't really want to, like, think about, this is another one that lies to you, because there's this area right over here that has this shit. But, like, I hold hope out for it, that one day it will spawn one for me. I don't actually think that there will be one there, but, you know, a part of me is like, just in case one day we might see one. And I've definitely seen one out here before. So, I mean, you know, you can just take a quick looky-loo, you know? So a part of me just rounds out back, then we go and hit Geyser, and then we're pretty much done. And that's pretty much all it is for the Cetus Wisp runs. And like I said, for some reason, and I don't know if this is true, but this is, you know, my own observation, and you guys have seen it here, is if I do a day run, I'll get like 4 Wisps, you know? It like won't be anything major. It won't be anything super duper crazy interesting. I'll get like, you know, I'll get like 4 to 6 Wisps in a normal day run. But on a night run, man, I'll get like a lot. And if my cat's being good, if my cat's like loving on me that night, I'll be like, oh shit. You know, sometimes that cat will give you like extra sets, and I'm like, okay, this is a good haul. Walk away with like 16 to 20 depending on how much your cat loves you. Let's just double check, because usually there's a grouping of Wisps around that area too. But that pretty much brings us back to the entrance, and that about does it for the Wisp hunting portion of the video. Literally, this is basically like, and like I said, you do have to kind of make that choice. You're like, so what we gonna do tonight? We gonna Eidolon hunt, we gonna Wisp run. And sometimes, you know, maybe you do a couple Eidolon hunts, you do a couple Wisp runs. I always feel like it feels a little bit better at night. It's a little bit more chilled out at night too, and if you gotta get some fishing done, you know, you can go ahead and do your Wisp run, do some fishing spots, come on back. And that's one of the things that I really, really liked about the plains, is mainly because of the fact that you can come and go as you please. You know, you're like, all right, let's chill out a little bit. I know for a while I was on that Eidolon hunt trip, and I was just like, grind out those Eidolons, grind out those Eidolons. We must kill as many as we can in a night cycle, and that's fine and dandy. But ever since then, I've like calmed the fuck down, and I'm like, what will we do today? Will we learn how to fish? Because yes, I'm still trying to get the fishing stuff down. And maybe, you know, once I get it down, I'll go ahead and pass off the knowledge to you guys if you guys don't already know. If you guys still want all of that information. Or maybe I want some gem hunting. Just, you know, some casual stuff. Maybe farm some Breath of the Eidolon. I don't know. Regardless, for me, it's been a whole fun trip to do some of this farming. It's been a lot it's been a lot chiller and calmer and kind of helped me kind of like calm myself out after like a long night, or maybe I had some stress. I'm like, I could just snatch some of these goddamn Cetus Wisps. So hopefully that helped you guys out. Hopefully my little tips and tricks and my builds and whatnot do good for you. There's a lot of stuff to come soon, so I want to make sure that you guys are all stocked up on all of the farming bits and bobs that you can get your hands on. Regardless, that about does it for me. So as always, love somebody, hurt nobody, and touch your body. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!